I'm here.
Okay, go.
Oh, right. Yeah, hi. So I'm Nikolaj Nielsen. I'm a journalist. I spent 2 weeks in Belarusia, which is Europe's last dictator, where people are routinely repressed and followed and jailed by the KGB. So there's Lukashenko, who's the president, who's been there for 18 years. So this is all happening, but there's a complete media blackout because no journalists are allowed to go into the country. But I managed to get into that country and spent 2 weeks there, and I wanted to put faces behind the oppression. And all this will be, all these articles and show, well, some of them anyways, will be on our website called Open Democracy. That's what they'll be published tomorrow, normally. Anyways, so this is the first image here. This is of a park outside of Minsk called Karpati. And this old lady here, she is commemorating the deaths of something around 250,000 Belarusians who were executed by the Soviets. And they were all buried in mass graves here. And this was only discovered in 1989. So I showed this photo first because this kind of shows you, gives you another impression, gives me an impression of a country, of a society that's been traumatized, and a society where there is no society, and of people who have just been numbed by war and by the current regime under President Lukashenko. So some of the people I met journalists, I met political prisoners, recently released political prisoners, and that sort of thing. Also, here's some young journalists who basically have to work in secret. They don't have accreditation, but they are an independent media outfit that is in Belarus. Media in Belarus, the Media Freedom Index in Belarus is maybe 2 or 3 above North Korea. So, for instance, this young girl, she does video, and she's routinely harassed by the KGB. Her apartment's been broken into, her material has been confiscated. Her cameraman, this is the guy, Alexander, he's been thrown in jail already. He's beaten by the police, and his camera's been broken 4 times. Again, like I said, they have to keep going from a different apartment to a different apartment as their kind of office. They belong to a Polish media outlet called Belsat. These guys, they're all Belarusian. Also, I met a young man who had recently been released from prison. He was a political refugee. Mikita, he's 21. He spent his 21st birthday in solitary confinement. He spent 20 days in solitary confinement. And he also spent 81 days in isolation and 9 months hard labor. And all he did was yell aloud, "Long live Belarus!" And then he kicked over a peace barricade. And this is to protest, in a protest that was organized on December 19th of last year. And you can really see it in his face here, in his eyes, what this guy's gone through, just because of his political beliefs. He's no longer, he's been denied education, he's no longer allowed to study. This is his mother. Of course, she was hysterical when she found out that her son was incarcerated. For the first couple of days, she had no idea what happened to her son. She couldn't find him. But eventually, he was released. He received a presidential pardon, but this is because Lukashenko had been was threatened sanctions by Europe and the United States. I also spoke to presidential candidates. So in 2010, there was a campaign for the new president of Belarus. So there was 7 opposition candidates, and all of them were sentenced to jail. 2 of them were released, but those 2 almost died. I've spoken to the wives of presidential candidates who are still in prison. First, this is Irina. 4 days before I interviewed this lady, a Russian journalist who was doing the same thing I was doing had just spoken to her, and he had been apprehended by the KGB, who then took him to KGB HQ, where he had all his material confiscated before being kicked out of the country. So obviously, all these people that I was meeting as well were under KGB surveillance, and but I got to meet her anyways, and I got to speak to her, and I can also see that this lady here, she's extremely worried about the fate of her husband. Her husband's a guy named Andrei Sanikov, a presidential candidate, and he's been put in isolation as well. And she has a 4-year-old boy, and she doesn't want to tell her boy that her father is in jail. So she tells him that he is on a business trip, according to her, telling us the truth, which is for this innocence and the vision of the world. To give you an idea, Minsk which is the capital of Belarusia, is a very strange place. Well, there's KGB everywhere. It's incredible. They stop you randomly. They'll pull you aside and search through your bags for no reason. If you stand too long on October Square, you can get detained and possibly even arrested. So there's a real fear going through the country now. And this is also in the backdrop of a financial crisis that is now sweeping through the country. And so people's finances are plummeting. And also, you have to understand that what happened in North Africa with the Arab regime also has a psychological impact on the current dictator in Belarus. I'm saying this like in French, excuse me. And so Lukashenko, because he no longer has an economy to support him, he is using oppression. And he's really tightening his grip on media, which never really existed anyways, aside from the propaganda. So, like, as I was saying, Minsk is a strange place. The streets are immaculate. There's no poverty to be seen. There is absolutely, for instance, no tags. I mean, when I was there for 2 weeks, didn't see any dogs. But you get a real sense that there's something kind of offsetting about it all. And you see that when you see all the police everywhere and the soldiers and also the KGB who are this easily recognizable by the little wire behind their ears and the people that is detained on them randomly. Another wife that I met as well, who's also in jail, whose husband is also in jail, is this lady. So she's fighting for her husband, who is also incarcerated for his political beliefs, for standing up to a regime and standing up against a dictator. And now Amnesty International considers these men, also women, to be prisoners of conscience. And so far, I think right now there are about 16 political prisoners in Belarus. Let's see what else I show. Another young man who had recently been released is this guy named Pavel. He spent 8 months in jail again because he went to a demonstration and protested against the so-called President Lukashenko. And behind him here is his girlfriend. He said that in February of this year, the KGB came to his apartment around 3 a.m. and they demanded to come in. Of course, they eventually went inside his apartment and then arrested everybody in there and then dragged him off to the KGB HQ, where he was thrown into a cell and interrogated for 3 days. And during those interrogations, they accused him of terrorism. And he basically refused to tell them anything, refused to rat on anybody. And because of that, they sent him to jail. He was originally sentenced to 5.5 years prison. Again, he was released because of international pressure. He received support from leaders throughout Europe and the United States to release him, which Lukashenko eventually did. This is happening in Europe today. This is a country that borders Poland, Lithuania, Latvia. It is a country that is under extreme repression, and it's a country that's basically about to perhaps even break out in riots, and who knows, maybe another revolution is on the horizon. And the reason we don't hear about this country at all here in Europe or in the international media again is because there's a ban, a blackout media ban on the country. So the stories that you get from inside are extremely rare. Like I said, some journalists try, but they often get kicked out and are never able to return again. Let's see, what else? Also met with musicians and artists as well. Artists whose work has been banned. Musicians who are not allowed to have any airplay because of their songs. I met one artist who has been thrown in jail for 6 days because of his artwork. And yet, this is an artist who has exhibitions in New York City and in Paris. And yet in Minsk, he gets thrown in jail because of his work. And also recorded went to some underground music groups, and I was able to record some of the music as well, and to kind of get a sense of what life is like there in Russia. And anyways, this is a part of a much longer work that I've done over 2 weeks, again, which will be presented at Open Democracy. So that's it.
Thank you. So put the camera towards you again.
Okay. So I just have to show up.
Internet, so.
How did he get into others?
Do you see me?
Hold on. No, but that's because probably we closed so many things here.
Wait,
I see myself.
You see yourself? That's good. Hold on.
all the time is daytime in Antarctica.
Cool.
Tú eres más rápida que yo.
Sí, los pistoleros.
Es la pistolera.
Son pistolera más rápida.
No funcionó.
The screen.
Oh.
Wait, ¿dónde está el man?
We lost.
Ahí
Oh,
está.
there you are.
Ok, ¿y está también estamos transmitiendo? No.
No.
Tenemos que volver a entrar a transmitir.
No, we are.
Yes.
Okay, so
Minimize.
So we recorded the thing with a telephone, and we believe that it's going to be archived on the site of the live stream, but somehow
It is archived.
it's not visible like live because well, I don't know why, but that's the thing. So anyway, we have a record for you. May I? Do you mind if I put it on my blog or?
No, please, by all means.
Is it okay? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know. And you're not a freelancer anymore?
I'll find out tomorrow.
Oh, you'll find out tomorrow. Okay, let me know.
I will.
Cool. So we're gonna.
Man, looking good.
That's Juan Pablo.
You cannot see me. You don't have the pleasure.
No, wait. I don't know. Hold on. Then you. Oh no, because we're streaming. We cannot turn on the camera. Anyway, we'll talk later. Thank you very much, Nikolaj.
Yeah, no worries. Take care.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
What an attractive young man.